Israeli Prime Minister Yair Lapid shaking hands with PNG Prime Minister James Morobe in New York. Prime Minister on. James Morobe has accepted an invitation from the Prime Minister of Israel on, Yair Lapid, to visit Israel. While PM Morobe reciprocated this with a return invitation to the Israeli leader to visit Papua New Guinea. The exchanges happened soon after both leaders presented their respective countries' statements at the 77th United Nations General Assembly on Thursday, September 22, 2022. In a brief meeting on the sidelines of UNGA, both leaders spoke of and agreed for Papua New Guinea and Israel to step up on current diplomatic relations and how both countries would work together. Prime Minister Morobe is very keen on getting Israel's high-skilled assistance in agriculture to help in the new focus on agriculture that was recently announced. He said Papua New Guinea can learn a lot from Israel, their internal security, their technology-based agriculture industry that makes them food sufficient as well as exporters of fruits and vegetables to Europe and the world. The leaders agreed to step up on the 44-year-old diplomatic relation, with renewed focus on agriculture, innovations and knowledge-based economic development. Papua New Guinea and Israel established bilateral relations in 1978, 3 years after Papua New Guinea gained independence. During the parliament sitting on the October 14, 2022, Morobe Governor Luther Wenge questioned Prime Minister about the relationship between Israel and PNG in Jerusalem and Israel in Papua New Guinea by Honourable Luther Wenge, Governor of Morobe, stating PNG is a Christian nation, putting PNG ahead of Australia. Prime Minister James Morobe failed to answer his question and later answered the question through point of order by Luther Wenge. The Deputy Speaker attempted to put YHE words to the Prime Minister's mouth, but also failed. To set the embassy in Jerusalem will represent Christians who stand with Israel and the Jewish people based on biblical principles and promises. PNG recognizes the modern-day restoration of Israel as the faithfulness of God to keep his covenant promises.
God of Hebrew and God of Judah. Mr. Prime Minister, I want to commend you without reservation. You have taught the nation and delivered to the nation in unambiguous terms that you want to declare to the rest of the world that this country is a Christian country. And you declare, you have said quite clearly that you want to amend the Constitution to accommodate that assertion. Mr. Prime Minister, by virtue of us accepting God of Israel and God of Hebrew as our God, we are saying that Israel as a nation is our brother and our brothers and sisters, that country of Israel. And Mr. Speaker, I want to direct my question to the Prime Minister. Could you negotiate with the Prime Minister of Israel to establish Papua New Guinea Embassy in Jerusalem? Establish it. I want to make it clear also that our nation has almost 100% population Christian compared to all the nations in the Pacific. Even Australia has a less number of Christians. We have the highest. And so what? We should declare it as a Christian nation. So could you liaise with the Prime Minister of Israel to give you permission or give us the permission to establish Papua New Guinea Embassy in Jerusalem? Number 2 question. Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Deputy Speaker, could the Prime Minister also invite the Prime Minister of Israel, nation of Israel, and the government of Israel to establish their embassy in Papua New Guinea? At the present time, they have an embassy in Australia, but Australia has a lesser number of Christians than we have. And it is right and fitting for the Israeli government to establish its embassy in Papua New Guinea. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
The Honorable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I'm a mass long question long Governor Wenge Morobe. Me ask him long relationship with me one time, the nation of Israel. But before me back him, two question again. Talk of long Papua New Guinea as a Christian country. How fathers of our and mothers of our country at 1975, when the Constituent Assembly was adopted on the 15th of August 1975, they did acknowledge that we are a Christian nation. For us, in the amendments that we are working on, we just want to entrench that without compromising or without stopping other religions from also practicing their beliefs in our country. So me clear him this plan. Question long Embassy Blimi long Jerusalem, I think in 2013, if I'm not wrong. Then Prime Minister, the Honorable Peter O'Neill, led a delegation to Israel. There was a conversation around that, and the Israeli government, from what we were briefed, gave indication of the land in Jerusalem to be used for our embassy. In my recent United Nations engagement, I met His Excellency Yair Lapid, the President Prime Minister of Israel. He was pleasant. He did acknowledge Papua New Guinea's support to Israel on many, many occasions. And conversation on me visiting Israel and him visiting Papua New Guinea was made. That obviously will flow into those bilateral arrangements. Mind you, it is not just our religious affinity that we should relate to Israel with. Israel is a knowledge-based economy. Israel is an economy that exports agriculture that is grown through hydroponics technology. Israel today, there's up to 8 flights a week dedicated to the export of raw vegetables and fruits produced from Israel. And Israel is really half the size of Angoram district. But on rock, they're producing agriculture to export to Europe through the use of hydroponic and technology, and we can learn much from them. Having a bilateral relationship with them is not just for our religious affinity and our worldview in terms of religion, but more importantly in the area of technology, knowledge, and learning from them. And so that conversation is timely. I thank the governor for asking an important question. He possibly did not know, but Governor, you might be pleasantly happy that I met the present Prime Minister in New York. We had those engagements, and I look forward to our officials progressing what political leaders did so that we don't leave it to waste in the opportunities that is available in entrenching a bilateral relationship with the nation of Israel. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Bulolo. Honourable Governor, what's your point of order?
I have, with due respect to the Prime Minister.
Honourable Member for Bulolo, you resume your seat while I'll ask the Governor.
With due respect to the Prime Minister, I have specifically asked you whether you could ask the Prime Minister of Israel and his government team to establish our embassy in Jerusalem. That's one. And second, I specifically ask you whether you could ask the Prime Minister of Israel to establish Israeli embassy in Papua New Guinea. You haven't answered those questions yet.
Honourable Prime Minister, I think I heard you answering a question in a diplomatic way, but I think the Governor wants you to specify on the question he asked, so maybe I'll ask you to reply to him.
All right, thank you, Deputy Speaker. And thank him, Governor. Ask him, put in point making me come up clear. establish a meeting with the leader to leader penis the issue long embassy long Jerusalem or Israel na embassy long Papua New Guinea but including this bilateral exchange Mr. Deputy Speaker but me na Prime Minister na government blaming na government problem making hopefully sometimes next year if time is in order me visit him all past them na about visiting me plan na this like embassy lo Jerusalem na embassy long Port Moresby but part of this bilateral discussion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member Bulolo.